Hello everyone and welcome to my complete Mika guide. In this video, I'm gonna cover everything there is to know about Mika, including his kit, talents, weapons, and so much more. So you should keep watching till the end so that you don't miss out on any crucial information that I'm gonna be providing you in this video. Like always, timestamps will be in the description for your convenience. Let's start. Mika, from my point of view, is a physical buffer that can heal, provide attack speed and physical damage bonuses through his kit, passive, and some of his constellations. Normal attack, he does a 5-hit combo with the polearm and crossbow that he wields to deal physical damage. The normal attack number 4 is the crossbow attack, and it requires you to be in the close range of the enemy so that Mika can actually land a hit. Other than that, this normal attack doesn't provide you with like any sort of buffs, so if you want you can just leave it at level 1 if you're not going to be auto attacking with Mika. Elemental skill, Star Frost Swirl. This has a tap and a hold version. On tap, it will fire one flow frost arrow that can pierce multiple enemies at the same time if they are in somewhat like a straight line. Okay, and on hold it will take you to aiming mode, and on releasing it will fire a rhyme star flare dealing cryo damage to the locked enemy. Later on, this rhyme star flare will rise, explode, and launch something called the rhyme star shard that will deal cryo damage to a maximum of 3 enemies. One thing to keep in mind is that the enemy that was hit with the rhyme star flare, or the first enemy that was hit with the hold version of his elemental skill, will not be receiving any sort of damage from the rhyme star shard. Okay? After the enemy is hit with the elemental skill, it will grant all nearby party members a state called the Soul Wind state. This state has a 12-second duration. In this state, all party members' attack speed is increased. The percentage of attack speed that he can give will be higher if you level up his elemental skill. This skill has a 15-second cooldown, 12-second duration, and can generate 4 particles for Mika. Elemental Burst, Sky Feather Song, the main source for healing. On cast, it will do a initial heal based off of his max HP. This initial heal is for the entire team. Additionally, it will provide your team with something called the Eagle Plume state. In this state, whenever the active character's normal attack hits the enemy, Mika will regenerate their HP every 2.5 seconds. This burst has an energy cost of 70. So this means that you have to build a little more energy recharge on him so that you can spam his burst on cooldowns. Ascension 1 passive. When you use Mika's elemental skill and meet some requirements, it will grant the active character 1 detector stack. 1 detector stack will give the active character 10% physical damage bonus. So, how do you gain these detector stacks? Whenever you use the tap version of his elemental skill and hit more than 1 opponent. Okay, you need to hit more than 1 opponent. For each opponent you hit, it will grant you 1 stack. Now, if there is like only 1 opponent, for example when you're fighting the bosses, this passive isn't that helpful, okay, since there is only 1 enemy and you need to hit more than 1 enemy to gain 1 stack. Now, the second condition is that whenever you use the whole version of Mika's elemental skill, for each opponent hit with the Rhymestone Shard, okay, the Rhymestone Shard, it will grant 1 detector stack. Again, you need to have multiple enemies on the field, and this passive isn't that helpful when you are like fighting bosses, okay, and a maximum of 3 detector stacks can be gained this way. Okay, Ascension 4 passive. whenever a character who is affected by both Mika's elemental skill and burst or the eagle plume state and the soul wind state lands a crit on the enemy, it will grant that active character one detector stack, and it also increases the maximum cap of detector stacks from 3 to 4. So a total of 4 detector stacks can be gained at C0. Okay, 3 from Ascension 1 and 1 from Ascension 4. Furthermore, his elemental skill is the only way how you can apply cryo to the enemy. So just keep that point in mind. So like if he's like the only cryo character in your team and you need to proc superconduct, you can only proc superconduct once every 12 seconds. Okay, so I recommend you have like at least 2 cryo characters in your team so that you can proc the superconduct. So if he's like the only cryo character in your team, superconduct isn't a reaction that you can just like trigger every 4 or 5 seconds. So for this, to avoid like this situation, I recommend you run 2 cryo characters with an electro character if you're going to like proc superconduct. As for talent priority, you mainly want to level up his elemental skill and his elemental burst and leave normal attack at level 1. Furthermore, there isn't much to say about his playstyle as he is a support, and the main way how he works is that you just use his elemental burst and then his elemental skill and then swap off. Artifacts. Now let us talk about how to build Mika. The main stats for the artifacts will be energy recharge for the timepiece, HP percent for the goblet. As for the circlet, you can go HP percent, healing bonus and crit rate if you are using the Favonious lamp. For the substats, energy recharge, HP and crit rate again for the Favonious. For the artifact main stats, there isn't many options that you can run on Mika. You can run the 4-piece Noblesse for buffing the attack, although 2-piece isn't that helpful, but the Noblesse set is like the general set for all supports. So if you don't have any any Noblesse users in your team, you can use 4-piece Noblesse on Mika. And if you want to maximize his healings, you can go for 4-piece Maidens or 4-piece Ocean Hued Clamp. Okay, if you don't have like any of the 4-piece sets, you can just mix and match 2-piece sets from like Emblem, Tenacity of the Millilith, stuff like that, and you can have like a stepping stone for the 4-piece set. There is another set, like a 4-star set that you can use, but since it's like 4-star, you won't get that much value out of it, and that set is the Exile set. It gives 20% energy recharge and it regenerates flat energy for the teammates. So it's like it helps with his support capabilities and also solves his energy recharge problems like a little bit. As for his energy recharge, his burst cost is 70, making him a very energy hungry character. His energy recharge can range anywhere from 160 till 250 depending upon his teammates, their teammates' weapons, their rotations, and if you're like able to funnel all the particles back to Mika. Okay, for example, a solo cryo with a Favonious weapon, that is, Mika is the only cryo character, and using the Favonious weapon you have to run over like 200% energy recharge all the way till 250. If you have like double cryo with a Favonious weapon, you can go from anywhere from 180% till 200. Okay, and triple cryo would be like Mika, Eula and Rosaria, or Mika, Eula and Diona, to have a 160 till 170 energy recharge for Mika. Okay, again, just try to keep his energy recharge anywhere from 180 to 240 and you will be fine. Again, this amount can vary depending upon your teammates, their weapons, and the weapon that Mika uses. Okay, weapons. Basically, any weapons that can help with his support capabilities and energy recharge problem is a go-to weapon. For the 5-star weapon choices, we have the Engulfing Lightning and the Skyward Spine, both providing a nice amount of energy recharge. but it is highly unlikely that you would have an extra engulfing lightning or skyward spine just lying around. But if you do, well, you can run that weapon on Mika. The 4-star weapon choice would have something like 1. The Favonious lance, the most used weapon for supports. It helps with the energy recharge of both the wielder and the teammates. You can just proc its passive and then funnel those white particles either to himself or to other characters that need energy. If you want a free-to-play choice, the prototype Star Glitter is a good option as it provides a lot of energy recharge. The Kitten Cross is another weapon, but the secondary stat is Elemental Mastery, and I'm not so sure that it would help Mika, but the Kitten Cross's passive will help you funnel some particles to himself, but you need high refinement ranks for the Kitten Cross. The Catch is also another weapon that you can run as it provides you with energy recharge, but it is better off on characters like Shangling or Ride. There is a 3-star weapon that you can run on Mika, that is the Black Tassel. You should only use this weapon if you have enough energy recharge from the substats and the main stat from the timepiece. Otherwise, Black Tassel isn't something that I would recommend as well. Constellations. In my opinion, Mika's constellations are something that you should get if you have the luxury of pulling for constellations for Mika. Especially his C6 and C2 are very good. Constellation 1. It decreases the intervals between the healing. The amount that get decreased is equal to the percentage of attack speed that he provides with his elemental skill. So if you have a higher level of elemental skill on Mika, the amount that gets decreased between the healing, the healing interval, would again decrease. Constellation 2. The first enemy hit with the Flow Frost arrow or the Rhyme Star flare will grant 1 detector stack. Now this is a very good constellation. Now if you didn't have C2, the thing about Mika's detector stacks is that you had to hit 2 enemies if you want 1 detector stack. But if you have Constellation 2, 1 enemy will give you 1 detector stack. Okay, so Constellation 2 is very good. Constellation 3. This constellation would give you +3 levels for your elemental burst. Constellation 4. Whenever his burst heals proc, whenever his burst heals proc, it will generate 3 energy for Mika. For himself, he will generate 3 energies. This can be procced up to 5 times per 1 use of Sky Feather Song. This is again a good constellation when it comes to his energy problem. Constellation 5 will be a +3 levels for Mika's elemental skill. Constellation 6, a good constellation for Mika. The maximum number of detector stacks is increased by 1, and the active character gets 60% physical crit damage after being affected by the skill buff or the soul wind state. So if you have C6, you will have 5 detector stacks, 3 from Ascension 1 passive, 1 from Ascension 4 passive, and 1 from Constellation 6. Apart from 5 detector stacks, you will also gain 60% physical crit damage. This is nothing to laugh at. His Constellation 6 is very good. Team comps. His roles are to buff physical carries or provide normal attack speed for characters that need it. The first team comp that I'm gonna mention would include the physical hyper carries. The physical hyper carries could be Yular, Razor, physical Zhongli, or any other characters that can deal physical damage. This physical hyper carry will be paired with Mika that can provide them physical damage bonuses and normal attack speed. And Then pair these two characters with a electro character that can help you proc superconduct. These electro characters can include again like Cookie, Lisa, Raiden, Fischl, Miko, so on. Okay, as for the last slot, you can have someone like a Bennett if you don't have him at C6, or any off-field characters that can provide to the team's overall damage output. Or you can just run someone like a Diona that can give you shielding, particles, and healing at the same time. You can maybe even run someone like a Rosaria, because she gives crit rate, physical damage to the Constellations, and so on. Okay, Rosaria again is a good option. If you don't want to utilize his physical damage bonuses and just want to utilize Mika's normal attack speed, you can pair Mika with characters like Yoimiya, Ayato, Wanderer that need a normal attack speed. Okay, that is another way where you can play Mika. Other than that, I don't think there are many other options where you can play Mika. If there are, and if I come across any other team comps, I would leave them in the pinned comments down below. Okay, well, that's all for this video, hoping that this guide was at least a bit helpful for everyone that pulled for Mika. Also, if I have anything to add to the guide, I will leave it in the pinned comments like I said. For those who pull for Ayaka and Shenhe, I have made guides for those characters as well, so you can go check them out as well. That's all for this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.